I guess I think you definitely need experience. But no, I don't agree with guys being thoughts.
Well, how do you know then?
How do you know what? Can't you just have conviction in your life? Sure, when you're a young guy, you're dumb, and then like when you grow up, you're got to be like, okay, this is what I want. I want this and this and that. That means like I know this, and so like I could not be like you don't. It's not like oh I know this, but I'm still going to be like a thought while I find this person.
What's going on, everybody? My
Ugh.
name is George, and this is my lovely co-host, Susie.
What's up, guys?
And welcome back to the 8th episode of the
Woo! I know, right?
podcast.
We were just talking about guys being thoughts. It's so gross. It's so gross, but typical. Ladies, you know.
Yeah, well, at least one thing that I do say is that I'm an equal rights kind of person when it comes to that. Like, if you're sleeping around and you're a girl, you're a thought. If you're a
But
guy and you're sleeping around, and you're a thought.
I
You know
don't
what mean?
have an issue with that. I find an issue with the fact that guys do it until they're like, all right, well, I guess this is the girl.
No,
All
it's
right.
not all right. It's kind of like
I guess this
until
is
you have
her.
this mind shift of like, that's not what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. And it's like a thing that in ourselves that we evolve into. And it's kind of just like, now I am ready to look for or be what I need to be for that person.
It's all in the timing. That's all.
Yeah,
It's all in the timing.
it definitely is. And I think women are way more ready than what guys are.
So I'm just annoyed at this conversation. We've been talking for a while.
Yeah, and anyways, this is not the topic.
No, and it's not the topic. And also, I'm a little feisty because I didn't get my coffee this morning.
Which I told her to freaking go and go get her coffee, and we could have just waited because I knew this podcast was going to be a little weird if she didn't get her freaking.
As you all know, if you're going to go get coffee any day of the week now, the line is like 20 to 30 minutes long now. And so I had all the intentions of getting my coffee. The line seemed so long, and I was like, I'll just wait. Hopefully, I'll get it after the podcast. But I am feeling kind of like not 100% centered because of my lack of coffee. And yes, I can make coffee at home, but I'm not about it. I'm about the experience. I'm about going and getting my coffee and like feeling like whether it's hot or cold, like the sensation as I'm drinking it. I just feel cozy all around it. I love it.
I don't get the whole coffee. What is it? The whole coffee people.
I
Cult,
feel like
the culture.
I feel like coffee people, it's like 98% of the world. It's like the oldest drink ever, okay? So I really, really enjoy my coffee, but it's okay.
I just feel like it gets me too wild up.
I could drink coffee at like 12:02 a.m. and fall asleep by 12:07. Like, it does nothing to me.
I cannot.
I feel more cozy. I could drink coffee right now and probably fall asleep because I just feel so at home and cozy.
So Stephanie's a coffee drinker, and she leaves coffee like all over the place. And
like coffee cups?
yeah, but fresh coffee. You know?
Yeah, she
so
makes
like,
coffee.
Yeah, and I just I take a sip, right? And then when I take a sip, I look at the clock. I'm like, if it's anything past 3 or 3 o'clock, I'm gonna be up for a little bit longer than what I want to be up for.
So do you not like the taste?
No, I mean, if she depends on if you make it right. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So when I was little, I kind of liked it when it was sweet,
Yeah,
super
yeah.
sweet. But now I'm just like,
Well, Mexicans, when you're little, you start drinking coffee when you're like 3.
yeah.
And with your bread. But like the way it's made, and this is my preferred state, it's like mostly milk.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
mostly milk, and then it's like basically white coffee. Now I'll do like 7,000 creams in my small cup of coffee. But I am on no dairy right now, actually. So the past 5 weeks, I've been doing non-dairy coconut creamer. And that's what I'm doing right now with my life. So see how I need the coffee. But
Yes, you do.
yes, I feel like that's what it brings me back to, actually. Like when I was like 3 and 4 and having coffee with my family and eating bread with it. I love that.
Nice. No, yeah, I mean, it was a nice little family gathering when you get your concha.
Yes.
And then you get like,
Oh my God, I think I want a concha now. I think I'm gonna go do that after this.
You're so funny.
Yeah, like and then like dip it. I'm a dipper. Are
Uh,
you a dipper? Like if it could be a croissant or a donut, I'm dipping it in my coffee.
no, I'm not a dipper then, because usually, well, I'm not a coffee drinker, but like I have a glass of milk and then I have like my donut. I'm not a dipper.
Separate.
Bite.
Ooh,
Cookies and everything
delicious.
too. Yeah. Stephanie's a dipper too. She like dips all her stuff in there. She throws her cookies inside her milk and then she eats it like that.
Oh yeah.
So that's weird too.
That actually is weird, but I have sorry stuff, but I haven't seen people do that. But I also like bolillos, which is basically just like a mini French bread, and then you would like tear off the pieces, and I do this like do a little circle in my
what
cup.
though?
In
Like
the coffee.
in a coffee.
Yeah.
Bolillo in a coffee. I don't think I've
Yes.
seen somebody do that before.
I know. See, I'm all about the carbs. But if I don't drink multiple cups. I'll have 1 cup a day. If I don't have it, I get a huge migraine. So there you go.
So
I'm addicted.
How far away are you from that migraine right now?
No, it at 2 p.m., 2 to 3 p.m. I'll start to feel the onset. But once you get the onset, it's done. It's there. I'm gonna get it. So yeah.
Damn, so much about coffee,
So
guys.
much about
I didn't know
coffee.
we could go deeply into coffee like that. Like
It's
I know, like Angelo, like he has like the French press and like the
press.
smart coffee
Yes.
and like, and I'm just like, man, like they're just like my cousin too. He has like these like the weird like glass thing that kind of heats up the
Yeah.
coffee differently. I'm just like,
I was looking into getting a French press, but and then I saw some reviews that like a lot of the benefits of coffee gets lost when you do the French press because of how you press the bean. So then I'm like, you know what? Forget making my own coffee. I'll just continue buying my own coffee every time. But I've slowly trying to change the appliances in my kitchen to pink ones.
oh my goodness.
And I saw a pink French press, and then I was like, maybe now I'll make my own coffee. But no.
You
I
could
said,
correlate that with the very first episode where she was disappointed she didn't have a
I'm
pink
still
mic.
disappointed. I'm still sad. But anyway, so moving forward, I really wanted to talk to George. And I was kind of inspired. George had to film me for a gym video that we did on Friday. And I gave him so many compliments, guys. You guys would all be proud of me for giving for giving George so many compliments. And he did a great job. And I just really feel that you've had the time, like you mentioned in like an episode or 2 episodes before with this whole COVID thing, that you've had more time to really study more and bring that towards your career. But like what I really want to talk about and dive into is how weird is it, the career paths that we've chosen, right? Like I had a gym teacher. She was my gym teacher in grade school from kindergarten to 8th grade, and like she's like everyone in the neighborhood's gym teacher forever, like my siblings and people after us. And I was just like, oh, she's just like a teacher but that knows about fitness or gym stuff, you know. And I was like, to do that you have to be a teacher, you know, like you have to go to school for teaching. And then later on, as you start observing people like on TV, and then you start hearing about personal trainers, it's like, oh, you have to be like a 24-year-old white guy to be a personal trainer. Like, there's no mapped out career path for a Mexican/Latina, you know, coach/trainer for people teaching about fitness. And, you know, there's also no mapped out career path for a videographer or photographer that exclusively deals with gyms.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about how you actually decided to, and what inspired you to do this, and why only gyms?
Oh man. I mean, it's not that long. Sorry. I mean, it's not really like my family, you know, like there's nobody like, I'm basically like an entrepreneur and I own kind of my own business. And, you know, I think like any Mexican family or any Latino family is like, you come here, you get a good education, you go to school.
Exactly.
You get that.
100%.
You go to a factory or you go to like, you know, my
100%.
mom always wanted me to be like a lawyer, a doctor, or something where I'm in an office and I'm going to get like a 401k.
100%, yes.
and,
Safety.
yeah,
you know,
safety.
You want safety. You don't want to have risky, you know, like any career path or job that's risky. You want the safe pay. You want the benefit. Like that's what all immigrant parents are
Yes.
striving for, like the benefits, the safety,
Yeah,
all
and
that.
that's like the American dream, I guess,
Yes.
that they saw that they wanted their kids to have, and that's why they came over here. And then they hear their well, like my mom, they hear my mom saying that I'm not going to go to college and I'm not going to go, and she's just like, what the, what do you do with your life,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess the way I got into my career path is just opening my mind. I mean, you guys all know, if you guys could go back into the earlier episodes, but like when I was diagnosed with cancer,
Yeah.
it kind of just opened up my mind, and like, yeah, I need to be doing something with my life. I had multiple different jobs. It happened around 27 years old when I got diagnosed. I wasn't happy. I was working with my cousin, he was running his own company. It was just No Manchas Clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So that gave me a little taste of what entrepreneurship is. I was awake till 4 or 5 a.m., 6 a.m., printing out shirts and stuff like that for them. So
Wow.
like now I knew the blood, the sweat, the elbow grease that took to run a business. And so I left that business, and I was just in and out of different jobs, and I was just I wasn't happy, and I knew something had to change. And honestly, the truth is, I was laying in bed, and I was just I went down the YouTube rabbit hole, and
Yes.
so-
I hate those, by the way.
yeah, so I went down the YouTube rabbit hole, and I used to watch a lot of fitness videos because I was overweight and I was just trying to change my life, and that's the only way I would get out of bed and stuff like. So it was really late at night, and there's this YouTuber guy called Peter McKinnon, and he films like amazing cinematic, like, I mean, not even close to what I shoot, right? But like, just like cinematic storytelling, and and I saw it, and an emotion just came out of me, and I was just like, that is so dope, like what he just did, like from what he shot.
And he does fitness videos.
No, he does like National Geographic stuff.
Oh, okay.
So he does like, he lives in Canada. He does like mountain ranges and rivers and stuff like that, and he just puts like really cool poems behind it, and like he talks behind the like a voiceover. And when the video finished, I was just like, wow, like that's so dope. It was so beautiful, you know what I mean? It was so cool. And I was just like, I want to do that shit. So literally that day I went to go buy a camera, and I bought a camera.
Really?
Yeah, I bought a camera. This was like 3.5 years ago.
wow.
So I bought a camera, fucking didn't do my research. It was like super, super old, but like it got me by my first year and a half of business. And the way I got into the gym part is, well, one, I tested out everything. I did weddings, I did music videos, I did.
Got it. So you were
I
an
did gym.
overall photographer, videographer.
Yeah, I was just fucking doing everything, learning as much as I can, as fast as I can. And
You did weddings?
yes,
That's
I did a
stressful.
wedding. Yeah, that's super. Bridezillas, like, they're just crazy. So like that's why I'm just like, oh, he's like, I get a bunch of people like being like, do you film weddings? Like, no, but I got 3 guys that do. Check out the prices, and I send them to them. So I mean, and then not only that, but like, we're a little universal. So
Yeah.
like, when you say no to something, it opens up the door to everything else. So
Yeah.
like, so, but yeah, so then that just got me into like fitness. When I used to like motivational fitness videos because I was trying to lose weight, and then I just put 2 and 2 together, and I'm just like, why don't I make fucking fitness videos? And then that's when I just thought about like making like those cool inspirational storytelling videos that used to get my ass out of the bed to the gym.
Yeah.
I just like said like, oh damn, I can make those. And then that's just how. And then my first opportunity is when I came here, and that story is Rocio was walking into the GNC I was the store manager of, and she's like, yeah, Angelo's the owner of the gym that I go to. I was like, oh shit, I thought she was a personal trainer like at Export.
Yeah.
And that was it, man. And then yeah, my mom, my sister's like, you're doing what? You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like,
It's also hard to explain.
yeah, it's hard to like, people pay you to make videos, or you have a camera. What are you going to do with that camera? And my mom never believed in, 3.5 years later, she still worries, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she didn't know, like, now that I have my family, and I'm basically, all the bills are like on my back, most of the bills are on my back. And now she's like, oh, wow, you could live on your own, and you could support a baby and Stephanie. And so now she's just like, oh, I guess you're okay, like you could do that. So, and she didn't believe me like the whole time, she's just like, what are you doing with your life, until she still asks me like, how's everything financially, how's this and how's that, and I'm just like, everything's good.
What do your siblings do?
My siblings are pretty. They have like a solid career, and like
Yeah.
my oldest brother Jose, he's a state trooper.
Okay.
So he's a state trooper, and then my brother Lewis after him is a chef.
Oh,
So he
nice.
works like at high end chefs, like at downtown.
Okay.
So he's always had a job, and he's always been okay with that. And then my next sister is Yolanda. She's a nurse. And then Teresa, she's a stay-at-home mom. She also works in a dental office, so she does that. And then there's me.
Yeah.
And then that's what I do.
Just really, yeah, I know. So that's the thing where when I was making my transition from managing a medical office, which was super safe, to I'm gonna work at the gym full time. Man, that was like conversations upon conversations on like what are like why how does this benefit you more like and all this stuff. So I mean I didn't really have any plan to do this.
Yeah.
You know, I was working out here for quite a few years, and it was the coaches that were here were already set, and I know like Becca was the only female coach I had ever seen, but she, you know, you just look at Becca and look at her workout, and you know like she's been an athlete forever. I wasn't an athlete forever, so I was like, okay, like to do this, you have to be like Becca, like you have to be like someone that has been an athlete since they were 5 and that's going to the CrossFit Games and all this stuff. And then there was obviously some guys, which I could not relate to because I was just like, that's not, like, whenever I saw these other people, I was like, well, that's not me. Like, I couldn't see myself in them or the possibility of me ever doing it. But the more I got into the gym, because this is really my first experience working out. All I ever did before was like run, maybe do some body weight stuff at the track, or I'd go to, you know, Bally's. That's what it was back then. and do the elliptical, and then maybe I'd pick up like 5-pound dumbbells, you know, like and do something. But I had no experience, so this was my only experience working out. And right away, it's just like how you witnessed that and you bought the camera for me. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm not doing anything right. Like, I need to freaking really, like, if I'm going to, whatever was in me, like, it sparked something for me to want to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, like, I suck at this. I need to work on this. I don't have a good hinge. I have to work on my hinge. I can't do a kettlebell swing. I'm going to stay behind for 20 minutes and work on kettlebell swings. Like everything that came up and I realized that was a weakness, which was everything. I used to stay behind or come in early and work on those things. And it was crazy. Like the satisfaction of getting better at movements on that alone to me was like, okay, this is awesome. Like I bought into it. Yeah, I got better. I got in shape, you know, and you know, a year passes by and I'm still into it. And then like there's people from the gym like starting to intern to be coaches. And I was like, what? Like they were just working out next to me. Like now they're going to coach. It was really odd because I put up the coaches like Becca and everyone else like on these huge pedestals. And now these people that like were my partners on Sundays were like interning to be coaches. And I was like, oh, okay. So now it didn't seem so intimidating, the idea of coaching. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not there yet, you know. And a couple of years passed by, and I remember Angela brought it up to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you wouldn't want to coach? And I was like, oh my God, like, why is he asking me that? And I was just like, I'll think about it. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I've never really put some thought into it, and I was looking for perfection where you grabbed your stuff and like went and experienced it. I wanted to be like the most perfect athlete before trying to. And then once I realized, well, like, no, like I went to school like for psychology. That's something that I always wanted to do. But the reason that I wanted to do that was because my idea was to help people. I wanted to really help people and serve them. But I never thought I'd be a psychologist. That was never like my plan. I just wanted to like learn about what it was like and what type of things triggered people, or what kind of emotional things and mental things would be blocks for people, you know. But I never planned on being a psychologist, but I wanted to help people. And then I saw like, well, with coaching, you really get to help a lot of people all the time, every day. And you're seeing these same people every day. You're able to see results. You're able to see a mind shift. You're able to see like all this stuff. I'm like, it's basically what I've always wanted to do. And I was feeling kind of stagnant at my other job because it was an office job, a safe job. And I was just like, I don't know. Like, it took another year for me to finally answer Angelo. Like a whole year for me.
And
to
what was this? What was it around? Date?
This was 2016. So 2015,
okay.
he asked me what I thought. I just looked at the emails the other day. And 2016, in July, after a YouTube video that I had made for the gym called The Queen Bee, because, I was like, okay, like, I want to try it. And I knew, like, doing the internship for Angelo would not be easy. That would probably be the hardest thing I've ever done, because he does not take it easy on you. The gym is his child, and, he wants it to be perfect. So I knew it would be tough. So yeah, in 2016, in August, I believe I started my internship. And by June 2017, I was working here full time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
I think the craziest thing is just that, like, you had like nobody to be like,
No.
hey, how do I, you know what I mean? Like,
There was no like course of action, and that's why I thought that was so interesting about you and interesting about me. It's not like there was like a behind the story on or you know what I mean, or like there was some book like this is how so and so became a fitness instructor, and that's not a really mapped out career path, especially how George mentioned for a child of an immigrant. If you go down my siblings, it's just like exactly what my mom would have wanted.
and
Like,
what is that?
so
too?
it's like lawyer, police officer, and then like army/union mechanic. And it's just like the safest jobs ever. Like they're essential workers, they're also working, So like that's what my mom dreams. Like that's what you want. And for me, it's like, no, I'm going to leave that safety net and I'm going to come and do this. And my mom.
And we're both babies of the family. So.
Yes, we are both the babies of the family. So she was just like, oh my God. I'm sure she thought it wouldn't last, but it's already going to be, 3 years since I've been here full time. So.
Yeah. And I think the nice thing is that I don't think some of, even if we don't continue like being a videographer, it's going to be the next level of that. So
Correct.
like if your coaching is going to go to the next level of that, like maybe it's like a one-on-one thing, or you opening up something just that's your thing. Right. If you want to, you're like me, like, so I think that's it's a nice thing that we created our own career path.
Yeah.
And like with not no help, because nobody does anything without help.
Yeah.
But like we figured it out.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The big thing about me was, okay, I can continue being safe and hey, my life, and like come home at 5:30 every day, and then like all that stuff, and Monday through Friday, and to me, like I was just like slowly dying inside, and nothing was inspiring me to be a better person, and nothing was inspiring me to try new things. I was just like doing the same thing over and over again on a hamster wheel. Mm-hmm. And that's what was like really like, okay, I just need to try something new, whether it stays or not.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, because now I really feel that I can show, like, you don't have to be me or you don't have to be George, but you can definitely go down a path and choose your own life path.
Yeah.
Your own job path, your own career path. It doesn't have to be teacher, lawyer, nurse, even though those professions are awesome and we always will need those people.
Yeah.
There's some people out there that don't find that gratifying or don't find happiness there.
Well, I think one of the main issues too is like, I don't know what it taught you at that point, but what it taught me too at that point is that like I have the choice.
Yeah.
Like I can literally stop right now and be something else.
Yeah.
Like I could stop being a videographer and just like take up something else and be like, okay, I'm gonna be this now.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you take it into your own hands and like knowing that you have the destiny in your hands. Is a lot of us say like, oh, I can't leave my job because of this, or I can't do this because of that, and I can't. And it's not true. Like you could literally do Like not like other than like physical like pros and basketball players, but you could basically become whatever the hell you want.
Well, what I always tell people, I'm like, well, okay, like when they're having trouble figuring out life situations, they're always like, okay, like I can't because of this, or should I? Or I'm like, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
And for the most part, the worst thing that can happen is like you're broke. Okay, so like I've been there, like I know what that's like, so I don't have fear being there, like obviously, like okay, then you just start over. Okay. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, what's the worst thing that can happen, and what's the best thing? Like, oh, like you find something that's fulfilling you, that's inspiring you, that's allowing you to live the life that you want. Okay, then that's a really good risk to take. If one of those risks, if the worst thing that can happen is death, then I would say then that obviously no. But always ask yourself that, like,
Yeah.
what's the best thing that can happen out of here, and what's the worst thing? And that's how I approached coming here to the gym to work out at all. I was like, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? Like, I end up wasting whatever amount of money for the amount of time that I'm there. Or I can like change my life and be more fit and like get all these things that I always wanted to get out of my body and learn how to be in shape and all that stuff. And that's the stuff that you learn when you take risks.
Yeah.
That has been just an overall really good journey. And how George can tell you, like, being an entrepreneur or doing something that is off the beaten path, it gets tough sometimes. I'm working really weird hours during normal times. I have basically I work every day. You know what I mean? And I have a weird gap in the middle of my day. I don't really get to see, make plans throughout the week because I'm here till super late and all that stuff. So, like, yeah, there are always going to be pros and cons. But to me, the pros are so much more fulfilling. I'm doing something that I really enjoy to do. I get to interact with people all day. I get to help people. My philosophy is that I want to touch people, and people may be coming here and really not need to work out, but they just need something, and like hopefully I can give them that. So that the pros and cons to me was just like an easy way to gauge, and yeah. I'm happy with my choice.
No, yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think it's just a beautiful thing because you made that path and you did it your way and you did it how you wanted to and you learned through those trials and you learned through that, and I think it just makes you a stronger person overall in general, and I just think it's very fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's very, and you're right though. Like I have crazy hours, like
Yeah.
my July 4th is already taken and my Halloween is already taken
Oh,
for like
wow.
these next shoots, and I'm just like, but
What are they?
so this is a really cool shoot. So but it's but like I look back at I used to be a newspaper boy. I used to work at GNC. I used to work at Old Navy. I used to work at
That's
a hot dog.
great discount at Old Navy.
I used to work at a hot dog stand. I used to work at a bank, and the way I look at it is like, if anything, if like you said, like if what's the worst thing that could happen? I just end up back there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like those things
for
are
sure.
all of those things are still there.
Yeah, for sure.
So and
yeah.
as an entrepreneur, they never tell you have a plan B because your plan A should always work
Yeah.
out no matter what. You should never give up. But like those things are never
Yeah.
gonna. And the thing that's hard is is that like after death you're
Yeah.
you're like,
You're
are you
fine.
really gonna want to? Yeah.
Everything has a solution, and not to go back to this whole COVID craziness, but I really find that people that are having trouble, like during this whole isolation, is that they've probably never had to do those things that we did. Like you just always, I don't want to say had the privilege, but you always had the higher option, right? Like it's just, they probably didn't have to work at a hot dog stand and work at a doctor's office. I worked at the Disney store. You know what I mean? Like they probably never had to do those things. So for us, to me, I was like, okay, like let's just say all this stuff happens and it's a whole year, and okay, I have to go back to working for a doctor's office. Like I know how to do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I think that the people that always just kind of were like, okay, I'm going to do this because this is the natural steps that all my family has taken, and probably have never had too many conflicts in their early lives are having trouble because they can't imagine like the worst thing being, oh, I've never had a worse thing. Like I went straight from school to my career, and I'm whatever
What I
yeah.
wanted to be.
Yeah, so I definitely sympathize with those people, but I know what it's like to work retail, to work an odd job, and so to me it's just like, okay, like if I have to push carts at Jewel, like Jewel's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Like I'm still I'm gonna be able to do it. So
Yeah, that's how I felt too. So I mean, it's so I always try to be grateful
Yeah.
for what, like, sometimes when I wake up and I'm just like, oh, I have to drive to this like hour and a half shoot,
I feel you.
and I'm just like, oh fuck, But then I was like, I would much rather be doing this shoot than, having to, stack up hot dogs like I used to,
Yeah.
So like, or wrap up hot dogs, or like at the line of like
Man, I
the
want a hot
next
dog
like
now.
Kanye West video. Like one time there was a Kanye West concert at Soldier Field, and the lines, like, man, I don't even know how many hot dogs I made, and it was just so
Really?
crazy. Yeah, so
That's a fun job. At the Kanye West concert?
yeah, well, no, it's so it's a it was a hot dog cart
Okay.
in front of the Field Museum.
Oh, okay.
So people would line up there, like, and then go to the Soldier Field because
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
were cheaper than what it would be inside.
Inside,
Yeah.
yeah.
So all the Bears games, instead of watching football, I was there at the cart.
Yeah, and people that are
Um,
tailgating, I'm
I'm
sure.
drunk as hell.
That's
And
awesome, actually.
all the concerts that were there, like Lake Shake was there right there too. So
Yeah.
like making all the hot dogs. So I'm like a hot dog expert.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but yeah, I look back at that and I try to be grateful because like I could be doing something crazy like right now, I
Yeah.
could be,
Or you can be putting on a suit and going to the bank every day.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just that's not for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And then living, like, some people just stay in that thing just because they feel they don't have the choice
Yeah.
or they don't have the power to change that. And it's crazy. Like, even like the cool thing is just like you get paid to be a coach.
Yeah.
And I get paid to like make videos. And some people are like, they have these awesome talents and they could get paid for that.
Yeah.
And they just don't like
100%.
take that, and they don't think they could get paid into that. And like their mindset is just, closed, or they don't think they could get paid for that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of things. And I'm still going through that. I still have an imposter syndrome. And that those 2 holidays that I just mentioned, I gave out a crazy fucking invoice, and they accepted, and I was like, holy fuck, and
That's awesome.
so it kind of broke like this like glass ceiling that I was putting myself under.
Yeah.
So I was like, whoa, I could really do that. And then so one thing I wanted to touch base on is real quick before running out of time. You study psychology.
Yeah.
And in some way, you're psychologically helping us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying us because I come to the gym and
He's a
she's our
member.
coach. Yeah. So, and that's awesome.
Yeah. So I've loved psychology since forever, like Freud and all that, like super in love with all of learning all that stuff. And so like I said, like I love learning that stuff, but the thought of me having like an office where you're and not to mention, like, if you don't know me outside of here and have only been watching me on these episodes, you can tell my face is pretty expressive. So for someone to come in to my office and tell me some crazy stuff, I'd be like, right? Like, my face would tell it all. So I just never really thought I'd have my own thing. But to circle back, I'm so happy that I did learn that stuff because it does apply. Everyone has their stuff and their baggage and their problems and their insecurities that they come and bring here. And so I wouldn't say easier for me, but I feel that I can connect better with them because I know that it's nothing that they're doing towards me. I'm not taking it personal, whatever sort of emotions that they are throwing out, right? And I know, like, okay, I have some tools to help people. So, yeah. Really good observation.
Yeah, so that must be a very satisfying thing.
It is
also.
satisfying.
Because I mean, if you think about it, that's what you
Yeah.
wanted to do.
So instead of helping like a person an hour, like and having 4 people a day, right? Like I'm helping like minimum 10 people per hour,
And she is like the The gym psychologist or therapist. The
I
therapist,
am.
I mean.
Yeah, I'm not always the warmest person, but I have I would say that probably for sure.
Yeah. I wonder if man, time's getting close. But I know you will need to go get your coffee, but like I wonder if it's something to deal with that we're the youngest ones in the family.
For sure. There are so many studies, right? Like the older sibling always has the more responsibility. We touched on it, I think, the second episode. Has the most responsibility. They almost feel resentment towards the younger siblings because they have to take care of them and all that stuff. The middle child just basically goes through rebellious times because they're kind of like ignored. My sister, for sure, super rebellious, and now she's like a super safe police officer. You know? My brother too, in case you couldn't tell. I guess they would both be considered in the middle. And yeah, the youngest person is always a person that kind of has a little bit more freedom because by that time, you know, your parents aren't as strict. I know my mom was still strict and yours too, but it was definitely less than my siblings.
Yeah.
And, you know, you kind of get to experiment more. You get different friends. You get to watch more like through interactions and TV and like people. And so I really feel like that all contributed to the type of person that I am for sure. Plus I got to see my older siblings and I was just like, oh God, like I do not want to be a lawyer. And I talked about my dad in the last episode, but that was his big thing that he would always tell me. He'd be like, I don't want you, and you are not meant to work in an office like your sister, or, you know, being told like what to do. Like, and I was just like, what is he talking about? You know, but yeah, it turns out, yes, you know.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, super interesting.
So we're free as a child, and now we're free in our adulthood.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
And it sucks when we're not free. I hate it. I hate it. I don't know about you, George, but when I feel like freedom is lost, I hate it. I do not like it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, definitely. Because I feel constrained.
Yes.
I feel like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe that's why I move jobs to jobs to job to job to job to job. And I'm just like, always like.
If I didn't have kids young, I probably would have too. But I had to be like, all right, I have to be safe now.
I have to support someone, yeah.
Yeah, but I probably would have too. I mean, I was a waitress. I worked at a Disney store. I worked for a real estate office. I worked for like a prints company, like selling prints. And it's just like, what? I look back at all those things. I'm like, I don't even remember what I did.
Oh, man. That's great. It's nice to look back, though, and be grateful for where you're at. So, final thoughts. What do you want to tell the people about coffee or career paths?
Okay. I definitely want to say try the non-dairy creamer from Trader Joe's. So good for your coffee. It'll make you feel cozy. And I definitely think that you should all kind of just like reflect. If you're already in the job that you love, awesome. It's always good to revisit your pros and cons for that. And if you're somewhere you would rather not be, right now, it's a time for opportunity, even though it seems like it's not. It really is. It's a time to revisit.
Big time.
What it is. You know, a lot of people are also probably unhappy because right now they're noticing like they hate their jobs, they hate what they do, and like really revisit that. If you want to live like that and be safe and work for the next 40 years doing this, okay. If you think you can't do it and you would die doing it, that was like me, then, you know, find something that you can do as a hobby, and then maybe that becomes your career path.
Yeah. Mine is just, you do have the choice. I mean, whatever you want to do, you want to try, you do have the control of whatever you want to do. Yeah, maybe you
have the control.
Yes. Yeah, you maybe you do have to cut back on things or expenses, or if you want to pursue a dream or something, you it can be possible. There's no I can't, you know. You just have to figure out the way to achieve that. And yeah, you do have the control. And one of my favorite sayings is control the controllables, and you can do that. And but yeah, guys, so that's it for another I Know Right podcast. Peace.
Bye.